Welcome to Louise Hay Inspired. Here, you'll discover powerful affirmations, self-love practices, and positive mindset techniques to help you heal from within, build confidence, and create a happier, more fulfilling life. If you find value in our content, please like and subscribe to Louise Hay Inspired for more inspiring videos. Take a deep breath, open your heart, and begin your journey toward inner peace and personal transformation.
This video will help you end the invisible war within yourself and bring every frightened, tired, and hopeful part of you back onto the same side. Perhaps one part of you wants to move forward while another tells you to delay. One part longs to be loved while another searches constantly for evidence that you are unworthy. You may call the resistant part lazy, weak, or self-destructive, but it is not truly your enemy. It is often an old protective voice created by fear of failure, judgment, rejection, or unfamiliar change. Each time you insult yourself in order to improve, you become both the attacker and the person being attacked. The body does not know which side to defend. It only receives the message that danger exists within. Healing does not begin when one part of you finally defeats another. It begins when all parts are invited into understanding and guided by mature love. I do not need to destroy my former self. I need to understand its fear and lead it toward a wiser choice. The frightened ego is not an evil force that must be eliminated. It is more like a frightened child who took control of the vehicle without knowing the road. It remembers shame, painful mistakes, and moments when being visible led to rejection. So it says, do not try. You may fail. Wait until you are perfect, or remain small so no one can judge you. Criticism is the method it learned to use for protection. Perhaps remaining unnoticed once felt safer than being seen. Thank this part for trying to protect you, but do not allow it to continue directing your whole life. Criticism never changes a thing. Fear may need to be heard, but love must now become the leader. Your authentic self speaks differently. It does not humiliate, threaten, or insist that your worth depends upon flawless performance. It may ask you to do something difficult, but its direction is usually simple. Tell the truth, leave what harms you, begin the task, rest the body, or try again. Inner wisdom does not promise that every decision will be comfortable. It reminds you that you can face discomfort without abandoning yourself. When fear appears, do not shout. Be quiet. Ask, what are you trying to protect me from? Then ask whether the danger is actually present or merely resembles an old experience. Finally ask, what can the adult within me do so that we feel supported enough to continue? Every part of me is welcome, but love now leads my life. Another source of inner conflict is the language of should, must, and not enough. You tell yourself, I should be more successful by this age. I must be thinner to be loved. Or, I cannot make another mistake. These sentences create an idealized person and use that image to punish the real person who is living today. Have you noticed how heavy a task becomes when shame is attached to it? The mind may avoid the task because avoidance temporarily reduces pain. Then you label the avoidance laziness and attack yourself again. Procrastination is not always a lack of willpower. Sometimes it is resistance to an internal supervisor who never offers encouragement. You don't have to immediately be perfect. Learning becomes easier when mistakes are no longer treated as evidence of personal failure. Replace commands with conscious choice and responsibility. Instead of I have to exercise, say, I choose to move because my body deserves support. Replace I should be more successful with I will identify one meaningful step. Instead of I must never fail, say I allow myself to learn through experimentation. Replace I should have known better with I acted from the awareness I had then. Today I understand more. This language does not remove responsibility. It creates an atmosphere in which responsibility can be practiced without shame. I release the person I was supposed to be and support the person I am becoming. You are more likely to move when the next step is offered as loving participation rather than punishment. The body can become the place where this unresolved conflict is experienced. Persistent self-criticism may contribute to ongoing stress and influence. Sleep, breathing, muscle tension, self-care behavior, and how discomfort is perceived. But we must never claim that one specific thought directly created one specific illness. Health conditions can involve genetics, infection, injury, environment, aging, and many other complex factors. You are not at fault because your body is struggling. Self-love can support your relationship with health, but it does not replace necessary medical evaluation or treatment. You are not a bad person for thinking the way you do. Healing language must never become another source of blame. Do not punish the body for changing. Do not call it ugly because it has aged. Hate it because it hurts. Or force it into exhaustion to meet an external standard. The body does not need another battle. It needs attentive listening, practical support, and appropriate professional care. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with my body?" ask, "What might my body need from me now?" The answer may be rest, movement, nourishment, comfort, medical attention, or a reduction in unnecessary demands. My body is not my enemy. I listen to it with respect and support it with loving, appropriate care. Partnership allows you to remain hopeful without denying reality. Blame and self-condemnation create another internal division. Your family, environment, former partner, employer, or larger social system may have affected your life in real and painful ways. Acknowledging that influence is honest. It is not weakness. But if all power remains permanently in their hands, your future depends upon their apology, understanding, or change. You may wait for years for someone else to release you. When you blame another, you give your own power away. This does not mean that they are innocent. It means you deserve access to your present choices, even when they never take responsibility. The opposite extreme is placing all blame upon yourself. Mature responsibility does not mean accepting guilt for what someone else did to you. You were not responsible for being mistreated, neglected, betrayed, or harmed. You are responsible now for seeking support, creating safety, setting limits, and choosing what helps you heal. Responsibility does not say everything was my fault. It says, wherever this began, the next step belongs to me. Responsibility is making a conscious choice of how you will respond. This distinction restores power without rewriting the truth. Separate the situation into 3 layers. First, not mine, the behavior, choices, and accountability of other people. Second, it affected me, the emotions, beliefs, and consequences you now carry. Third, within my power today, how you care for yourself, what support you seek, what you allow, and what future you begin building. You can return another person's responsibility without denying the impact upon you. You can acknowledge the impact without making it your permanent identity. Then say, I release blame without denying the truth. I reclaim the power to choose what happens next. The inner war ends gradually, through many moments in which you refuse to attack yourself. Fear speaks, and you listen without surrendering leadership. A should appears, and you translate it into a conscious choice. The body asks for care, and you respond instead of criticizing. The past explains what affected you, but today's responsibility guides what comes next. Be gentle and kind and patient with yourself. You are not trying to destroy any part of who you are. You are teaching every part that it is finally safe to be guided by love. I would like you to begin with a very simple experiment. For the next 24 hours, do not deliberately insult, ridicule, or threaten yourself. This does not mean that every critical thought will disappear. The old voice may still say, "You are useless. You always ruin everything," or "You will never change." Your task is not to wrestle the thought to the ground. A fight against criticism can become another form of criticism. Simply recognize the voice and refuse to supply it with more ammunition. Say, I hear the old criticism, and I choose not to continue it. Then add, I am ending the war with myself. You do not need to win the argument. You need only decline to carry it forward. During this ceasefire, learn to distinguish evaluation from attack. Evaluation says, I did not prepare sufficiently for that conversation. Attack says, I am a useless person who can never do anything correctly. Evaluation identifies behavior that can be examined and changed. Attack turns one behavior into a verdict about your entire identity. Evaluation asks what happened, what was needed, and what can be done next. Attack creates shame and leaves no constructive direction. Criticism never changes a thing. You may frighten yourself into temporary compliance, but you do not create a loving, sustainable relationship with growth. Suppose you missed a deadline. The old response may be, you are lazy and unreliable. During the ceasefire, replace it with facts. I underestimated the time, became distracted, and did not ask for help soon enough. Now you have information. You can apologize, renegotiate, change the schedule, reduce distractions, or begin earlier next time. Say, this mistake needs correction. It does not need to be used to destroy me. You are not avoiding consequences. You are removing humiliation from the process of taking responsibility. Perhaps you spoke harshly to someone. Self-love does not say, it does not matter because I must accept myself. It says, my behavior caused harm, and I can repair what is possible without withdrawing love from myself. You apologize clearly, listen to the impact, and change the pattern. Shame says, I am bad, so there is no point trying. Responsibility says, I behaved badly in that moment, and I am capable of another choice. Responsibility is making a conscious choice of how you will respond. Accountability becomes stronger when it is not tangled with self-destruction. Keep a small mark on paper each time you catch an attack. Do not record it to prove how negative you are. Record the moment of recognition, because recognition is the beginning of change. At the end of 24 hours, count how many times you interrupted the old pattern. Perhaps you caught it twice, perhaps 20 times. Every interruption matters. You cannot insult yourself into becoming a more loving person. The ceasefire is successful whenever you stop one bullet that would otherwise have been fired inward. Next, write down the judgment you hear most frequently. Perhaps it says, "I never finish anything. I am too sensitive. No one truly wants me." Or, "I must be perfect to have value." Write the sentence exactly as it appears, then read it slowly and notice whether it sounds like your natural voice or like something learned. Many beliefs enter consciousness before we are old enough to evaluate them. A parent, teacher, sibling, religious authority, or frightened caregiver may have spoken from their own limitations. Your beliefs are merely habitual thinking patterns that you learned as a child. A belief can be familiar without being true. Ask, who first spoke to me this way? You may remember one person, a family atmosphere, or no specific source at all. Then ask, how old was I when I began believing this? A 6-year-old cannot examine criticism with adult perspective. The child assumes that powerful adults know the truth. Next ask, how did believing this help me remain safe or accepted? Perhaps, I am too sensitive taught you to hide feelings in a family that could not tolerate emotion. Perhaps perfectionism helped you avoid punishment. Perhaps believing no one would stay prevented you from becoming vulnerable. The belief may have caused pain and still have served a protective purpose at the time. Finally ask, did the person who gave me this message truly understand who I was? They may have seen one behavior and turned it into an identity. They may have been exhausted, frightened, or repeating what was said to them. Understanding their limitation does not erase the effect upon you. It helps you stop treating their perception as an eternal authority. Say, this belief may have entered through someone else's fear, but it does not belong in my future. I release it now. You do not have to condemn the person in order to end the inheritance. Imagine placing the belief outside your body. You might write it on another piece of paper and say, this sentence traveled through my family, but it will not travel through me any farther. Do not destroy the paper if that feels too dramatic. Simply place it aside as evidence of something you no longer need to obey. Then write a replacement that is honest and supportive. I never finish anything might become. I am learning to complete one meaningful task at a time. I am too sensitive, may become. My sensitivity gives me information, and I am learning to use it wisely. No one wants me may become. I am available for relationships that recognize and reciprocate my love. A new belief needs repetition and lived evidence, not force. Do not worry if the old sentence returns. It has traveled the same mental route for years. Each time it appears, say, I know where you came from, and I no longer mistake you for my identity. Then practice the replacement through one action. Complete a small task, honor an emotion, or move toward a reciprocal connection. A thought can be changed. Change becomes more believable when thought and behavior begin supporting each other. Behind many difficult behaviors is a younger part trying to prevent an old pain. The part that procrastinates may fear failure and exposure. The angry part may fear humiliation or being ignored. The people-pleasing part may believe disagreement leads to abandonment. The perfectionist may believe mistakes cause love to disappear. If you see only the behavior, you may attack it. If you recognize the fear beneath it, you can offer guidance. Be gentle and kind and patient with yourself. Gentleness allows the frightened part to stop defending itself long enough to learn something new. When you notice a strong reaction, ask, how old does this feeling seem? You may be an adult in the present, but the panic may feel 6 years old. Place a hand over your heart and say, it is all right. We made a mistake. Tell the younger part, a mistake does not make you a bad person. Remind it, we are safe enough to look at what happened. Then make a promise. I will not abandon you when things become difficult. We will repair what can be repaired together. These words create a different inner authority, one that protects without terrorizing. Reparenting yourself does not mean indulging every feeling or avoiding responsibility. A loving adult does not allow a child to do anything simply because the child is upset. A loving adult listens, explains, provides limits, and follows through. If you behaved poorly, you still apologize. If a task matters, you still complete it. If a habit is harmful, you still create a structure to change it. The difference is that correction comes from dignity instead of disgust. I can hold myself accountable without withdrawing my love. Love remains present while behavior is adjusted. Imagine how this might sound in daily life. Instead of, why have you ruined this again? Say, something did not work. Let us understand why. Instead of, you are so lazy, say, we are avoiding this task. Is it unclear, overwhelming, frightening, or physically exhausting? Instead of, you should know better, say, we understand more now, and the next choice can reflect that understanding. Your language teaches the nervous system whether mistakes lead to learning or emotional exile. I forgive myself for not knowing what I had never been taught. Forgiveness opens the door to instruction. Then prove your reliability through action. If you promise the body rest, do not wait until complete collapse. If you say you will leave what repeatedly harms you, begin making a safe and practical plan. If you promise to seek help, contact an appropriate person. If you tell the younger part that its feelings matter, make time to listen rather than silencing it with constant activity. Trust grows when the adult self becomes consistent. I am now the loving, steady, and trustworthy presence I once needed. Your younger self does not need perfect parenting from you. It needs dependable repair. Now stand before a mirror if you can. Look into your pupils rather than inspecting the shape of your face or searching for something to correct. Meet the person who has accompanied you through every age, mistake, loss, achievement, and beginning. You may feel awkward, emotional, irritated, or tempted to look away. All of these responses are welcome. The mirror reveals the relationship you already have with yourself. It does not create the discomfort. It makes the discomfort visible enough to be healed. Mirror work is simple and very powerful. Say your name slowly, then speak these words. I am no longer fighting you. We are on the same side now. I forgive you for not knowing what you had never been taught. I love you, and I will prove that love through the way I live. Pause after each sentence. Notice which statement you can receive and which one feels difficult. Do not rush to make the exercise look spiritual. Honesty matters more than performance. If I love you, create strong resistance. Do not force it. Begin with something closer to your present truth. I am willing to stop being cruel to you. You may say, I am willing to learn how to respect you, or I am willing to remain with you today. Willingness is not a lesser form of healing. It is an honest beginning that the mind can accept. I am willing to learn to love myself. Repeat it until the possibility feels less foreign. The mirror declaration must end with one concrete commitment. Ask, how will I demonstrate peace with myself today? Perhaps you will let the body rest at an appropriate time. Perhaps you will complete something you promised yourself. You may stop contacting a person or place that continually reopens harm. You may ask for help, prepare a nourishing meal, schedule an appointment, or speak a truth that has been held inside. Love is never outside ourselves. Love is always within us. Inner love becomes visible through outer choices. Return to the mirror during difficult moments, not only when you feel calm. If something unpleasant happens, look into your eyes and say, I love you anyway. Events come and go. Approval comes and goes. Success and disappointment come and go. The relationship you build with yourself can remain. You are teaching yourself nothing that happens today will make me emotionally abandon you. That is the foundation of peace. Peace with yourself does not mean that you stop growing, working, or correcting harmful habits. It means that hatred is no longer the fuel for change. Love says, you deserve a good life. Discipline responds, I will protect that life through consistent choices. Discipline is not an internal voice screaming at you. It is the ability to do what matters even when the emotion of the moment is not enthusiastic. I only give out that which I wish to receive. Give your future self the consistency you hope life will give you. Build discipline through structure rather than punishment. Choose a waking time you can sustain rather than creating an extreme routine that collapses after 3 days. Complete one important task before allowing distractions to divide your attention. Keep one small promise to yourself. Establish one clear limit with an activity, person, or habit that repeatedly drains your energy. Small structures reduce the number of decisions you must make while tired or emotional. I am a capable person, and I can handle anything that comes my way. Capability is strengthened by agreements you can realistically keep. Self-love without discipline can become avoidance disguised as kindness. You may say, I am honoring myself while continually postponing work that protects your future. But discipline without love becomes punishment. You force the body, demand perfection, and call exhaustion commitment. The mature relationship combines both. Ask, what supports me now and what will support me later? Sometimes the answer is rest. Sometimes it is completing the task. I am loving and disciplined. I care for my present self and protect my future self. Responsibility is another expression of peace. Stop waiting for an apology before allowing yourself to live. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances before beginning the next appropriate step. Stop asking a person without the capacity to recognize your value to become the authority who finally confirms it. Life does not guarantee that every situation will be fair, but you can still decide what continues in your world. Each morning ask, which part of my life is waiting for me to take responsibility today? The answer may involve money, health, work, relationships, or the way you speak to yourself. Responsibility does not say that everything is your fault. It separates what belongs to others from what belongs to you now. Another person remains responsible for their behavior. Your past circumstances may have limited what you could choose then. Today, however, you may possess options that were not available before. I reclaim the power to choose what happens next. Power may look like asking for help rather than solving everything alone. Be prepared for discomfort when your choices begin changing. When you stop pleasing everyone, guilt may appear. When you allow yourself to be visible, fear of judgment may rise. When you rest, an old voice may call you lazy. When you choose differently from your family, you may feel disloyal. These emotions do not automatically mean that you are making the wrong choice. Sometimes they indicate that your nervous system is leaving what is familiar. When you first begin doing something new, it never feels right. New can feel strange before it feels natural. Learn to distinguish the discomfort of growth from the discomfort of danger. Growth discomfort may include nervousness, uncertainty, or guilt. Yet beneath it, you sense that you are respecting yourself. You remain free to choose, speak, pause, and reconsider. Danger involves threats, coercion, humiliation, violence, or genuine loss of safety. You do not need to remain in danger to prove your courage. Seek help and protection when needed. It is safe for me to speak up for myself. Courage includes leaving what is harmful. Suppose you set a healthy boundary and immediately feel guilty. Ask, did I do something harmful, or did I merely do something unfamiliar? If you communicated respectfully and protected a legitimate need, the guilt may be an old alarm. Let it exist without rushing to erase the boundary. Say, I can feel discomfort without turning against myself. The body learns through experience that saying no does not make you cruel. Suppose you begin a meaningful project and fear being judged. Do not wait for the fear to disappear before working. Give the fear a smaller role. Say, you may sit beside me, but you may not control my hands. Complete 1 page, 1 email, 1 application, or 1 hour of practice. I am willing to learn. Action teaches the frightened part that visibility can be survived. If resting creates discomfort, establish a clear and reasonable period of rest rather than collapsing indefinitely or refusing to pause at all. Say, for 30 minutes, I am allowing the body to restore itself. Then I will reassess what is needed. This gives both love and discipline a place. You can be relaxed and still handle whatever you need to handle. Rest and responsibility can cooperate. Let this become your affirmation for the transition. I can feel discomfort without turning against myself. I remain loving, disciplined, and free. You do not need comfort at every moment in order to remain faithful to yourself. You need enough inner safety to choose rather than react. Making peace with yourself does not mean that you stop correcting mistakes, developing skills, completing responsibilities, or changing harmful habits. It means you no longer use self-hatred as the engine of improvement. The frightened ego is not expelled. It is placed into the care of your mature self. The body is not punished. It is listened to and supported appropriately. The past is not denied. It is returned to its proper time. Our ability to change and adapt and flow with the process of life is our healing power. Change no longer requires an enemy. You and the person you want to become are not standing on opposite battlefields. Your future self is not disgusted with you. That person exists because you are willing to take the next step today. They need your honesty, discipline, courage, and care not your destruction. I support the person I am becoming by loving the person I am today. The present self is not an obstacle. It is the only self who can make the next choice. There will still be difficult days. You may criticize yourself, procrastinate, become reactive, or return to an old relationship with shame. The appearance of an old pattern does not restart the war unless you choose to attack yourself for having it. Recognize it, understand what activated it, repair what is necessary, and begin again. I am in the process of positive changes. A process contains repetition and many opportunities for return. Tonight, review the day without putting yourself on trial. Ask where you remained on your own side. Notice one moment when you interrupted criticism, traced an old belief, comforted a frightened part, kept a promise, or moved through discomfort without abandonment. Praise that moment. Then identify one repair for tomorrow. Praise yourself as much as you can. Encouragement creates energy for continuation. Now place one hand over your heart and repeat. The war within me is over. I release criticism, blame, shame, and the demand to be perfect. Every part of me now belongs on the same loving team. I accept responsibility without punishment, discipline myself without cruelty, and move through discomfort without abandonment. I am safe with myself. I am healing. I am free. Let these words become a commitment rather than another standard you must perform perfectly. Peace is renewed whenever you choose not to fire the next shot. It is renewed when truth replaces insult, responsibility replaces blame, and discipline joins hands with love. You do not have to destroy yourself to transform your life. You need only remain on your own side while you learn a better way.